For whatever reason, when I was about 9 years old, I remember Ariados being one of my favorite Pokemon. I can't really explain why, except for maybe the fact that Generation 2 Pokemon were pretty difficult to obtain in the Game Boy Advance era of Pokemon. You had to rely a lot on the two GameCube games, making it very difficult to catch them all at this time. Due to this reason, I don't really remember using an Ariados until Generation 4 with Heart Gold and Soul Silver, and I remember Ariados being a pretty bad Pokemon competitively. So this raises the question, is Ariados the worst Pokemon? Ariados is a Pokemon I've seen a lot of comments for lately, so let's talk about if Ariados is the worst Pokemon or not. In case you guys are unfamiliar, in the worst Pokemon series, take a look at some Pokemon that are bad competitively, discuss why they are so bad, and if they're the worst Pokemon overall or the worst Pokemon in a specific category. Each Pokemon is rated on a scale 1 through 5 based on offense, defense, versatility, move pool, and overall viability. If a Pokemon doesn't excel in any of these categories, then it is deemed to be a bad Pokemon and potentially the worst Pokemon out there. Keep in mind that this series is from a competitive standpoint only, and it is not a series where I bash Pokemon for no specific reason. It's very important to understand exactly what competitive Pokemon is, so if you guys don't know what that is, make sure you check the resource in the description to see exactly how competitive Pokemon works. And of course, if you guys want to support the channel, make sure you leave a like down below as it helps the channel grow tremendously. Subscribe with notifications turned on so you don't miss a future upload, and if you want to see a specific Pokemon featured in the series, leave a comment down below letting me know which bad Pokemon you want to see, and of course, make sure the Pokemon is actually a bad Pokemon that has not been featured in the series so far. If you want to see which Pokemon were featured in the series so far, check out the playlist link in the description as well. So Ariados has been in the lowest of low Smogon tiers since its inception and has virtually zero use in VGC. Ariados has typing of Bug and Poison, which is a rather common pairing. This gives Ariados a fair amount of resistances though, at the expense of multiple weaknesses such as Rock and Fire. Now if we were to take a closer look at Ariados' stat line, you will see that why this Pokemon isn't used very much. We have 70 in HP, 90 in attack, 70 in defense, 60 in special attack, 70 in special defense, and 40 in speed. None of these stats are above 100, which is pretty abysmal, and to my surprise, Ariados has never received a stat buff. I think that Ariados would have been a perfect candidate for a Pokemon to receive a small stat buff in Generation 7, as we have seen with other Pokemon such as Corsola and Farfetch'd. For whatever reason, they decided to not buff Ariados, which is why it's continuing to not be used. Ariados' abilities really aren't all that great either, as Swarm and Insomnia are just mediocre abilities that don't really do that much. Sniper is an interesting one though, as it makes Ariados' critical hits do more damage than normal critical hits. This does help with Ariados' overall damage output, although since it relies on critical hits, it's not very consistent. Now that we've established a basic overview of Ariados, let's move on to the ratings. In terms of offense, I will give Ariados a 2 out of 5. Ariados' 90 attack stat is rather underwhelming, and 16 special attack won't get you very far at all. The Sniper ability does help you out a little bit offensively, but overall I would still say that Ariados is a below average offensive Pokemon, warranting a 2 out of 5 rating. I will give it a little bit of credit for having Poison Stab, however, since fairies are pretty common, thus making Poison Stab rather good in this current meta. The problem is a lot of fairy types like Gardevoir and Tapu Lele are also psychic, which can easily revenge kill your Ariados, so I guess it doesn't really matter that much that you can hit fairy types. For defense, I will give Ariados a 2 out of 5 as well, because Ariados has 70 in all defensive stats, which similar to its physical attack stat is very mediocre. Ariados isn't all that frail, however, to be fair, but those weaknesses don't exactly help it out on the defensive end. Overall, I would say Ariados is a below average defensive Pokemon as well, but certainly not the worst defensive option we have. For versatility, I will give Ariados a pretty respectable rating of 2.5 out of 5, as Ariados does have some cool tricks that it can work with. Ariados has some nice hazard options, thanks to moves like Sticky Web and Toxic Spikes, and it also has its own signature move called Toxic Thread, which is basically just a 100% accurate Toxic that also lowers the target's speed. Ariados can also be a Sash setup Pokemon with a move like Agility or Swords Dance, which isn't the most optimal way to use Ariados in my opinion, but at least you have options when it comes to this Pokemon. For Movepool, I'll give Ariados a 3 out of 5 because surprisingly, Ariados has a slightly above average move pool. You have some great support options like Toxic Spikes, Sticky Webs, and Toxic Thread like we mentioned earlier, as well as some nice non-stab offensive options with Sucker Punch, Shadow Sneak, Stomping Tantrum, Smart Strike, and Bounce for some reason. This is arguably Ariados' strongest strength, as its move pool allows it to be a relatively versatile Pokemon. And for viability, I will give Ariados a 1 out of 5. Sadly, there just really isn't much of a reason to ever use Ariados on a competitive team. It is outclassed by other offensive bug types such as Mega Beedrill, Acelgor, and even Scyther, and defensively you're better off using a Pokemon like Vespiquen or Escavalier if you really want a bug type. Although I don't think that Ariados is the worst bug type Pokemon out there, nor is it the worst Pokemon we featured so far, there just really isn't a reason to use this Pokemon over a plethora of other bug type Pokemon. It can be a pretty nice, niche, low tier Sticky Web user, but even at that I'd rather use a Pokemon like Levani, as it is much faster and better offensively. So for some Ariados sets you can try, first we have Smogon's lead Ariados set, which is Ariados with the Focus Sash Insomnia ability for those Spore leads I guess, Max Attack, Max Speed, Jolly Nature, Sticky Web, Toxic Spike, Mega Horn, and Toxic Threat. This set can help you set up at least one hazard thanks to your Focus Sash, as even though you are Jolly and Max Speed, you probably won't outspeed very many Pokemon due to your base 40 speed stat. If you do happen to outspeed your opponent's elite Pokemon however, this does allow you to get up 2 hazards thanks to your Focus Sash, which is pretty nice. For more offensive Ariados set, we have Ariados with the Focus Sash yet again, Sniper ability for that increased damage on critical hits, Jolly Nature, Max Attack, and Max Speed, Agility, Poison Jab, Mega Horn, and Sucker Punch. This set allows Ariados to get up in agility pretty easily thanks to that Focus Sash, which can actually make Ariados quite fast. It's not the most optimal agility sweeper in my opinion, but it can work in the lowest tiers and bring you a lot of fun if you manage to pull it off. Now in terms of improvements, I would simply just buff Ariados' attack, HP, and both defensive stats by 10 points each. This gives Ariados a pretty solid attack set of 100, while also allowing it to rely a little bit less on Focus Sash from the defensive standpoint thanks to this added bulk. This could possibly make Ariados a lower poison version of Levani, which at least gives you a reason to use this Pokemon over Levani, which in my opinion is just a superior Pokemon. I don't think these buffs will be very groundbreaking at all, but it would at least make Ariados a little bit more usable. And that is Ariados. Is Ariados the worst Pokemon? Let me know what you guys think of Ariados in the comment section down below for a chance to have your comment featured in the next worst Pokemon video, like this comment right here. Personally, I think Ariados is one of the worst bug type Pokemon in the game, but there are still some worse bug types out there, and I'm looking at you, Ledian. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you guys leave a like and subscribe with notifications turned on so you don't miss a future upload. Have a great rest of your day. I will see you guys next time, and bye bye.